assist you with everything that you need. Buds, vaporizers, concentrates, topicals, edibles, and drinks, all from only the best companies in the state. If you're looking for the best cannabis experience in Denver, look no further than Colorado Harvest Company.
Hey, yo, what up, world? This is Big M1 from Dead Prez. Check out my album, Between Me and the World. And you are checking out World Viral Lifted by Colorado Harvest Company right here. Get lifted.
World Viral.
Hey, I'm Macy Slade.
Yo, I'm Edsel from the band Dope. Edsel Dope. You're watching World Viral TV. Turn it up.
There you go.
That's why it's called sexy pizza here. Ow! Sexy man. I love sexy pizza.
I love sexy pizza.
And say, mention World Viral, you get 20% off.
World Viral.
Viral, you get 20% off.
Hell yeah.
The only thing is, can you deep throw a pizza?
Let's see, can you?
Nah.
She almost got it. It's too hot. Okay, so you can get recreational marijuana for fun, but some people need the medical benefits of cannabis. Know someone that needs a medical card? You can save money by simply seeing the right affordable medical marijuana doctors. Herbal Health Systems. You can book an appointment online at herbalhealthsystems.com or call 303-237-1223. Herbal Health Systems. herbalhealthsystems.com.
I wanna sully every piece of you. I just love the way you move.
World Viral.
Motel Minute. Hi, Mom, I love you.
World Viral. Colorado Harvest Company.
I capture your beauty to put on display, as if it's my duty to blow you away. This is the end of everything I've ever known. Please
World Viral TV is brought to you, as always, by Colorado Harvest Company.
Welcome to the newest Colorado Harvest Company.
Well, I mean, he was
One commercial, 10 seconds.
World Viral.
Hello, everyone. This program was brought to you by National Speaker and Sound, Colorado's leading provider of pro audio music equipment. Right across the street from Herman's Hideaway at 1559 South Broadway.
National Speaker, where the pros shop.
World Viral.
National Speaker and Sound with a Pro Shop, Colorado's leading supplier of pro audio musical equipment with the highest quality guitars, basses, and amps on the planet. From a single cable to PA and lighting systems, DJ and recording equipment, National Speaker and Sound represents over 90 brands. EV, JBL, Mackie, PRS, Nash, Fox, and Mesa Boogie. For the serious musician, National Speaker and Sound service departments are unrivaled in the region with our certified electronics repair and speaker reconing. Our commercial division is Colorado's leading audiovisual installation contractor. Shop with the experts or visit us online at nationalspeaker.com.
Welcome, fight fans, back to another episode of The Final Bell, joined by my co-host, of course, Trevor O'Connor.
Hey.
And today we're joined by Paramount MMA frontman, Tony Sims, former UFC fighter.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
You bet, buddy. How you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah? So we've got a huge... We're going to jump right into this, obviously.
I'm ready.
We've got a huge Paramount MMA show, Paramount MMA 7. Gigantic news broke this week. Please, by all means, fill us in on what transpired all this week.
So we got Dana White coming in to film his show, looking for a fight. We booked 2 more fights. We rounded out our card, so it was a big week for us.
Yeah, and you had actually really no idea that was actually going to happen until about 2 weeks ago. And how did that even come about? I mean, that was very surprising. So I didn't understand how it even came about.
Well, so our main event fighter, Brian Rogers, his manager reached out to the show. I really don't know how they did it, but seemed like they had some good connections to it. And then about a month later from them doing that, they contacted me and we got the ball rolling on it.
What an opportunity. I mean, obviously it's huge news for the Denver fight scene, of course, but walk me, and you've been a fighter and you've been kind of in that stage where you're getting ready for the big show. What kind of pressure does that put on the new fighters that have never experienced anything like this?
Well, there's always going to be pressure with fights, but you put the UFC president in front of you, and then you kind of it's an opportunity for guys to test if they're really meant to be there, right?
Yeah.
So you put guys on a bigger stage, you see how they respond. But I'm excited. We got 12 really good fights, and I know a lot of those guys are going to open some eyes.
Trevor, what do you think of the fight card?
I actually really, really like the fight card top to bottom. It's well rounded. The amateur card looks ridiculous. One of my biggest takeaways when I saw that Dana was coming, this is not a fight card to manage a win on now.
Absolutely not.
You don't manage a win on this card. Not if you want to shake anything up in the world. You better win or lose in fantastic style.
I would actually even go one step further. I would say that, given the opportunity that these guys have coming into this particular fight, they're going to literally have Dana front and center, and probably Matt Serra and somebody else.
Sure.
And Colorado's a big jiu-jitsu town, as we know. But this is the one opportunity to fight like it's your last day fighting. I can't even imagine what these guys must be going through, especially with the news that broke this week.
Yeah, no leg humping. Probably won't get you signed.
No. I mean, I just don't think that he's looking for that. He's looking for people that are exciting, people that are going to put asses in chairs, of course, as you are too. But what an unbelievable opportunity, because who gets this chance?
Yeah, you go for broke. Absolutely go for broke. I think you throw your record out, the potential of a win or loss with your record out, and you absolutely go for broke on this card.
Tony, so we kind of have been talking about this throughout the last few weeks, but what's the importance of actually not really caring or giving a damn about the loss? It's more important about the performance in this particular fight and this particular event. Do you agree?
I do. I think one of the things that most kind of shows that is we had Jesse Arulian. Jesse Arulian was booked to fight March 25th in a different show. He had a much easier fight in that show than he has now. He's got Derek Brennan. Derek Brennan's he's a stud, right?
Yes.
But he switched over. He took this opportunity to fight in front of Dana White for this opportunity. So it's a huge risk for him, but. Yeah. It's exactly what you guys are talking about. Is take the risk,
and this is what you fight for,
right?
Exactly.
This is given the opportunity. If they called today, given the opportunity, you don't care who the opponent is. You don't care what spot on the fight card. You just take the fight, and then
Absolutely.
you go.
Well, and not just go. You put it. You go wild.
Yeah. Oh,
in
yeah.
that fight.
Yeah.
Ron, we had a guy that was 13-1 from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I think. He reached out to us. He said, "I'll cover travel. I'll fight for free.
Right.
I'll take
Get me on the show." Right.
So we've had a lot of that. It's crazy what it is. I wish when I was coming up, I had this opportunity.
Well, that's a funny parallel because during the last few weeks we've been talking. You know, I've been helping Tony out with some certain things, and Dennis, of course, Dennis Jackson's here. But one of the interesting things about that was we were talking about a couple of fights falling out, and I was telling Tony on the phone one day. I was driving home, and I was like, you know, as soon as you get a chance to break the news about Dana White being able to be there,
Kataro's going to be pissed.
I think that you're going to be able to fill.
Oh yeah,
more
you immediately
fights if
fill
you
the
want,
card.
You know,
you could have gone 15 fights, paid the fee, and fought until.
Is that pretty much what happened?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was so much easier to book the fights. It was. I shouldn't say that because it was a long week.
Yeah,
booking fights, but the interest level certainly went up.
Oh yeah, and you've got certain people that you really wanted to kind of highlight specifically for Dana. Agree?
Yeah, I mean, there's not just for Dana. I mean, we've wanted to highlight them the whole time, but now we have a bigger platform to do it.
Mm-hmm. Who are they?
So on the amateur card, there's a couple of amateurs that I really like. I like all of our amateurs, but Brittany Boone obviously stands out because she's one of the better female fighters in Colorado.
Absolutely.
Miguel Perez, no one knows about him. I've trained with Miguel. He's a very natural striker for 125
Fantastic
pounds.
striker.
I think he's gonna be one that one to watch coming forward. But Dana's really gonna like him. And then who else on the undercard?
Got him on the spot.
Check.
Wasn't there a Lopez?
Who do you like, Dennis?
Lopez fight?
Oh yeah, Grant Neal.
Oh, Grant Neal.
Yeah, Grant's one of my favorites on the card. 2-time Colorado State champion.
Yeah, big wrestler, big
also,
hitter.
He was an All-American football player too. Great athlete.
Well, the interesting thing, and I got a chance to actually call his fight last. He brings a ton of people to the fights. It's unbelievable.
Hopefully, we haven't seen it yet, but hopefully he brings them
It's
out.
unbelievable.
That's nice,
I was shocked. I mean, the whole place seemed like they were for him.
Yeah.
It was crazy, you know. And but I think that one of the really interesting things about this particular card, you've got, and I even told you about this, you have two main event fighters that are kind of throwback fighters in almost like a throwback event, you know? I mean, to talk about that matchup, that's a crazy matchup. You've trained with one. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you've trained with two.
I really haven't trained with Brian much. I mean, we've wrestled together.
Yeah.
But never, obviously one-on-one. I've actually physically trained with Kanan years ago, but yeah, it's good. The reason we booked it, Dennis and I booked it, was because the first show we were a little conservative with our fight card, just jumping into it. We wanted a bigger name, and Brian, just coming right out of Bellator, had just picked up a fight January in Ohio. It was a big name for us, a local name.
Absolutely.
So it was kind of perfect for us to have a big name like him. And then the matchup with Kanan, obviously, it's not going to be a fight on the ground.
No way. No way.
No. And Kanan shows up to fight in very, very, very exciting win or lose style.
If we've training
seen him
hard,
right? Which it appears that he's been training.
Yeah.
Full time over in Oklahoma, but I mean, you look back at even the last couple years of Kanan fighting in Colorado. He wins or loses.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't go to decision. And Lamumba Sayers, that fight was insane. And then before that, the jiu-jitsu guy,
Lovato, right?
No, before that, the big Afro.
Oh, Jeremiah
Talley. Jeremiah Talley, who is phenomenal on the ground and looked for every opportunity to try to pull Kanan to the ground. And Kanan he was smart, wanted nothing to do with it, kept standing it back up, kept clearing, and pulled that almost rope and dope off the cage, if you remember that. Jeremiah threw a flurry, and he pretended like he was somewhat hurt, leaned on the cage. Jeremiah let off for a second, and he used that springboard off the cage. Yes. That was a sick situation. But both of those two fights stick out in my mind. And how many fights have we seen in the last 5 years?
Yeah.
But both of those fights, very exciting. The Lamumba Sayers fight, I mean, I don't think.
I thought there was going to be a riot that
Yeah.
night.
Oh, I left like as soon as they called the fight, I walked out of the arena because I thought for sure there was going to be chairs in the air.
Well, the matchup itself and the kind of styles that both of those guys have really lends itself to nothing but a screamer for the last fight of the night. You know, I do have a concern about the card.
Let me have it.
You got it. So there's two sides to my concern. One is the negative side, one's the positive side. I think that when a co-main event features somebody that's got such stand-out, shut-down wrestling like Jared Mercado has, if he's not in there with another ground guy that can kind of negate that style, I think it's a problem. I don't see it for this particular fight, which is kind of why I'm excited for this fight, because I really want to see what Jared Mercado can do against a guy that's got a ground game similar to his. Do you feel the same way?
We had all of our fighters write bios, and Nick Rhodes, I think he has a plan to not let Jared lay and pray. But I
think everybody has that same plan.
Yeah, but it's fine. I wish I had the bio out in front of me. I could read it. It's really good. Potentially it could be a terrible fight.
Jared wins. I mean, Jared is a great local fighter. Jared wins. I mean, he wins.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's kind of got that reputation of being a snooze fest, you know, that can kill a card right before a main event because he wins the way he knows how to win. And that's to drag you down, wear you out, and handle you.
But then you got to have an opponent like Nick Rhodes, he does not care.
That's right.
So Nick Rhodes, maybe he loses the first round, he gets taken down and held down. But the second round, he's going to come out. He's not going to care.
Agreed.
So he's going to go for the knockout. He wants to finish. I mean, they built his contract with a finish bonus. So
really,
he's got a fight, show, win, and a finish bonus.
Now, that's the way.
That's the way to do it, right there. That's how you make a fight exciting.
Your idea?
Nope.
His idea.
Well, I don't know. I think it was Thomas's idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So just part of our negotiation.
And he's out of Arizona, right?
Yep.
So is he training with like Arizona Combat Sports or the Lally Brothers?
I don't know. I don't know the gym he's from, but it's not one of the bigger ones there. Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. And then of course we've got one of the really interesting things is, like you said, we've got Brittany Boone coming up. Brittany Boone could literally be, in my opinion, because she's really had a really almost a clean slate, you know, going through her career here in Colorado. In my opinion, this one could be the biggest opportunity, in my opinion, again, for a girl that really almost all the other shine is almost all around everybody else, but I think that she's actually got the kind of game.
She has the potential because she's exciting.
Yes.
She's long. Her kicks are, they're flashy. They look good, but they're clean. They're not overly dramatic. What I really like about Brittany is that she and the people around her have managed her career in the right way.
100%.
They didn't put her on a bottle rocket and try to make a star out of her immediately. They've really groomed her, and she's come up really well in the sport. Mm-hmm. So it's not a flash in the pan. Not that Paige Van Zandt isn't talented, but not like that, where they just took a girl way too early, brought her to the top front of the stage, and let it ride. She's really developed over time.
And Tony, you had a chance to, obviously working and training with Elevation, you've had a chance to kind of see a lot of these guys come through. What are some of the key players that you're seeing that really have an opportunity here to kind of make a real impact for the crowd?
Yeah. I think one of the fights that I love that we added was the Derek Brennan, Jesse Aurelian. Both are really exciting. That's going to be a scrap. I could see it going either way. I think Derek's probably favored, but Jesse's he fights a different way. Like he's
I love the way that kid fights.
He's gonna get in odd positions. You can't simulate it in training.
Not at all.
He creates chaos.
On 2 weeks' notice, I think it is a tough fight for Derek.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Derek and Jesse are going to open some eyes. I think Brittany, because she is so marketable,
absolutely,
she is so talented. Being an amateur, I think she's going to go pro probably this year. Is kind of what
I would expect. Yeah,
me too.
So those, and then I think just Brian being who he is and having the exciting style that he does could open some eyes. And if Nick Rhodes does what he says he's going to do to Jared, then I think he opens some eyes too.
What an unbelievable springboard. Like I said, who gets this kind of a chance? This is craziness to me.
If you were a fighter at all and haven't even trained in 6 months, and you saw there's an open spot on that card, and you didn't send an email, followed with a phone call, followed with showing up at Tony's office, you're insane.
That's a good problem to have.
We had I had one of Lisa Bowling called some fighters and said, you need to call Tony and offer to fight for free because this is an opportunity that doesn't come along very often.
So let's go back 5 years to your career. Here you are in your career here in Colorado, beating pretty much everybody that you fought along the way. And again, I go to the Drew Dober fight. I still think you won that fight. But take yourself and put yourself in these guys' shoes. What type of mindset should they be having coming out on that Friday night on the 24th? At the Paramount Theater, by the way.
I mean, if you're more motivated to fight now, I think it's a problem. I think you should be motivated to fight no matter what, no matter who's there, no matter what if the cameras are on or off, whatever. It's a bigger opportunity, but it shouldn't change your approach. You should be willing to go out there, put it all on the line every time.
Agreed, but I mean, do you almost put, and it's not even the pressure that others put on you, it's the pressure you're going to put on yourself. Do you put on more pressure on yourself because you know Dana's going to be sitting there and he's not going to really care so much about the outcome? He's going to care about the kind of fight you put on.
He wants to see the product.
Yeah, he wants to see what you can do. Does that change anything, though, going in? Because, of course, you want to win. Of course, you want to fight, and you desire to fight, which is why you're there. But with him being there, I've got to tell you, I would think if it was me, I would want to go out there and dazzle.
Absolutely, especially in the fact that Dana comes out often to the podium and talks about his top-level champions when they have a boring fight.
Yeah.
And
he goes
taking
off on
them to task,
Yeah.
basically saying, I mean, look at the Woodley fight.
Yeah.
He was almost embarrassed that fight happened.
Right.
You can't go out and manage a fight in front of Dana. You cannot do it.
No.
If you go out and try to manage a fight, you might as well just accept the fact that you're a local fighter and you'll always be a local fighter because
Correct.
You were afraid to pull the trigger in the biggest opportunity of your life.
More pressure?
Inevitably, everyone's going to put more pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
This is where you really get to see.
We all know what the UFC's looking for.
Yeah.
It isn't as much about wins and losses
Agreed.
as it is about your performance. You guys just got to go out there and fight hard.
That's it. So one of the cool things about Paramount is the production value that always comes with one of the Paramount shows. Is that something that's going to be consistent throughout this coming event too? Because that really has been one of the things that has separated the Paramount events from everything else. I mean,
sure,
we've seen amazing audio quality, amazing video quality, really cool angles actually too because of where the stage is set up. And then of course you've got all the spectators that are in the stands pretty much right there in front of you. Same type of production value?
Yeah, always. We're always, the point is to get better. We've got a great team on that side that does all that for us.
Mm-hmm.
They've been great. They've done it every year. They've got a ton of experience. So yeah, as we go forward, as we get bigger, our production value is always going to go up too.
Trev?
Can I, now that we're talking about the Paramount promotion and what is the goal with Paramount? Is there going to be a sister promotion that's going to put fights elsewhere? Is it just going to be at the Paramount? Because in my opinion, which disclaimer, in my opinion, Colorado and this whole region, is really starved for another top-notch local regional promotion that's going to give fighters the opportunity to put on display on a bigger stage. We've had several promotions fall off and fall apart over the last several years. We've had a couple promotions that have stepped up and moved on, and they're doing some other things, but I feel like our area is ripe. But I don't know, and no offense at all, but I don't know if once a quarter or twice a year it is enough to bring a promotion to that next level. What are your plans?
Yeah.
Right now, the plan is at minimum we're going to do a second show this year. Next year, at minimum, we'll do 3.
Okay.
Probably
so
doing
nice
4.
and easy.
We've talked about it, and I don't want to overpromise, but there's a chance that we do 3 shows this year too. It's just all a matter of getting things dialed in and doing it the right way. We don't want to just put it together just to put it together.
Yeah.
So it's got to be done right. It's only going to be once a year at the Paramount Theater. That's a for sure.
Okay.
We want to keep that. That's our staple. That's what we do once a year, and then
That's the big
out.
show.
Yep. But the point of Paramount too is, 1, it's for the fighters, and 2, we want to do different kinds of shows. We don't want to be the run of the mill. So if we do another show, it's going to be different and it's going to stand out.
Let's expound on that a little bit. Obviously, we've had a chance to talk, you and I, but let's talk to everybody. So this is a big deal to you, and I kind of go back to our podcast that we did together. You got a chance to see certain professionalisms along the way when you were dealing with the UFC. I know that that's an important thing for you to mimic for Paramount MMA as you move forward, but what kind of things, since some of the fighters aren't from here, what can they kind of expect out of Paramount MMA?
Well, 1 is I've been there, right? So I've been in their shoes. I know exactly what they're going through. I know how hard it is to be a fighter, especially on the local regional scene. I know how little money you make, how much work it takes. So we always have that in mind when we do things. We try to pay them as fairly as we can. Obviously, the better we do, the more people we get in the show, the better we can treat those guys going forward. But it's just about respecting those guys and respecting what they do. And I think no one else, people can say it, but if you haven't been there, you don't really know.
And that's kind of why I was asking that question. That insight that you have is very different than insights that maybe a regional promoter would have, and an understanding is really how, look, the publicity aspect of this is a big deal. I mean, it's the biggest deal, right?
Absolutely.
I don't necessarily know if other shows, not just here in Colorado, within the Midwest region, I don't think that they get that instant acclaim that Paramount MMA is getting, but it kind of almost has to hold you to a different standard now because of that visibility, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you ensure just that higher level of professionalism along the way.
We're just dedicated. We're dedicated to it, right? Like, it's a part of who Paramount MMA is. So we're never going to stray from it. We give our word. We tell people we're going to do stuff. I promise we'll always follow through.
I love it, man. I love that. I love that mentality.
Well, having been there, having been to the biggest stage and understanding the follow through that has to happen there, and bringing it back down and starting, from local, regional, and moving forward. I'm assuming that Paramount's it's going to become much bigger than just a Colorado show.
Think about the message behind it.
Absolutely.
I mean, how can you not?
And understanding from being in all different stages of it to what a fighter truly deserves. And that's what it comes down to. What does that particular fighter truly deserve?
Ami or not.
Right. No matter who you are. Right? If you're the greatest, if your record is 100-0, but no one shows up to see you fight, are you as valuable as a guy who's 5-5 but fills the venue because he puts on a show? And that's what fighters need to understand. And Tony, I'm assuming, having been a fighter at all levels, you understand that more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't the best promoter for myself, but I fought for different reasons. I love the sport. I love what it means. I think everybody that starts training, fights, whatever, even if you don't fight, you start your training, you go through martial arts, whatever it is, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, you become a better person from it if you do it the right way.
Absolutely.
I talked to a guy yesterday, not a fighter, but he said the guys that I've always dealt with that were fighters or any kind of martial artists, always great people.
Most stand-up guys there are.
Right?
Sure.
So, because you get humbled all the time.
There's nothing more honest than a fight.
Tap. Yeah. And at the same time, you need those guys that can be 100-0, but aren't going to self-promote, aren't going to fill your stadium, but they're always going to show up because they love to fight. They love to train. They're always going to be ready to go. So I think you have to find that perfect mix of bringing that guy in along with the guy, who his entire idea behind it is the excitement.
Yeah, but from the promoter side too, there are some fighters like that, absolutely, that they don't want any part of that, and that's okay, but it doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
But I think when you give them the message that, hey, we're not asking you to do this for us. We're asking you to do this for you and us, right? Because together we all win.
And everybody else that fights.
Yeah. So I think we've gotten a ton more out of guys than maybe some other promoters might, just because I think it's a mutual respect.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of an obvious thing. It's just one of those things that you really, so I had a chance to watch you for the media day. I had a chance to kind of watch you interact with others. And you said it best. You weren't exactly Mr. Self-Promotion. You were pretty quiet. We had to, I'd literally have to drag him out of things to do an interview with him or a story or whatever.
Sure.
But I had a chance to kind of watch you interact with other fighters, okay? And you obviously don't know this, but I was sitting there watching them. And I wasn't watching you. I was watching them. And when they were speaking to you, you can see the genuineness in their discussion with you. And I don't know if I've seen that before. It was something that actually made me stop for a second and say something to somebody else about it. I was like, check that out. It wasn't really, it wasn't me saying, hey, look at the respect. You could just see it, though. It was a very genuine thing. And you can see when someone's bullshitting you or not.
Sure.
But you can also tell when someone's legit and genuine.
When someone's giving you the shine.
Right. And I didn't see any of that at all at the media day. Did you get that same feeling?
Yeah, no, I feel like people are. It takes time, right, to earn respect and earn people. Like if people think a certain way about you, usually it should happen over time.
Yeah,
you can, like you said,
That's
you
right.
can pick out bullshit and all that.
Yeah.
But since our first show to this one, and as we grow, I think everybody will start to get on board with what we're doing.
The irony of this is there's a big piece of irony here in that the first show, 2 days before the show, everybody was hearing Tony had it up to here. He was fed up. He was done with this. He was like, I'm not doing this again. What happened? That's a pretty big swing.
Well, I'm glad you asked because it is kind of a good story. But leading up, we had 6 weeks, Dennis, was it, that we planned the first show? So we all sat down and had this idea that we would be promoters.
Mm-hmm.
And at the Paramount Theater of all places, that isn't the easiest to actually do a show at. But
with that timeline.
So I had 6 weeks to learn how to be a promoter, to learn how to put on a fight show, to build a fight card, to
rebuild a fight card.
Yeah, do all the things that we did. And so it was a ton of work. But 2 days out, I said I'm not doing this again, and I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
I was not going to do it again. But we had the show, and the show was incredible, and whatever. Like just going to the theater the other day, I got so excited about the show because you get an opportunity to do something that. It's a lot of work, and it's something that you can hang your hat on. So we were proud of the first show. We're proud of the second show, and I can't wait for the fights.
I think if you don't hate it, like 48 hours before, you're doing it wrong. You probably didn't put your whole.
10 kids.
Yeah.
The second show, expectations were different on what was going to happen. So all of the adversity that you face, it's just part of the deal. So,
but he's right in the sense that when you walk into the Paramount Theater, when you walk into there, like it's interesting. I'm thinking about it now. I'm getting goosebumps, But when you walk into the Paramount Theater and you really get a chance to feel the history that's there, because that's what happens. Actually, you don't really see a lot. I mean, it's very decorative and ornate,
but it's really neutrally decorated,
and it's theater decorated.
Right, it's not decorated for
fighting.
But there's not pictures of stars who played there. It's just.
But you get in there and you feel that history, and I think that for the people that have had a taste of that and had a chance to get a little bit of a glimpse of that, those shows become even more significant to them.
Before I ever fought, I would cover the fights. And I remember one of the very first times I got that inkling to change over, start training more, and actually think about fighting was at the Paramount. It was, I want to say it was right after watching, I can't remember who he fought. Anyways, this huge bloodbath fight. And I walked, down the back stairs to the locker rooms to go do an interview, or to try to get an interview. And I just remember walking down there and the energy down there was so I was like, oh man,
it's intense.
Yeah, and it wasn't any particular person, any particular thing. It was just the energy of what was going on in that room. Because I've walked into many ready rooms, and they're not the same. You walk downstairs at the Paramount, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, no doubt. So obviously there's tickets still available.
Yep.
And let's kind of go over all the specifics of tickets and where they can get them and more information about Paramount, of course. So let's start with, where do we get information about Paramount MMA itself first?
So the tickets and the information's on the website. There's a bunch of links to where you can get tickets on the website, www.paramountmma.com.
Okay.
And then we're running a promotional offer right now for 25% off tickets for
Nice.
the UFC being there, with Dana White being there. So all you got to do is go click the promotional offer and type in the code UFC at PMMA.
So ParamountMMA.com, get into the website, go buy tickets on the site itself, enter a promo code, and you get 25% off?
Yep.
Outstanding.
Of any ticket?
Any ticket. We're all sold out of the club VIP right now, and most of the reserve, the best seats, are going. So you get the tickets.
And there's not a bad seat there.
No, that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Kind of beat me to the punch there. But I think that, and then is there going to also be more information about your next upcoming show? Because that's what everyone's going to want to know.
We will. So we're going to spend some time the week after this fight to come up with the game plan.
Okay.
So we'll release all of that. It'll be through our social media and then through the website as well. We want people to go to the website. We spend a lot of time on it. It's well done.
It's fantastic.
So most of the
Really
information will be filtered and funneled through that website.
And then on top of that, and we covered this before, but people obviously need to show up to the fights. But if they're from out of town, is it going to be live streamed?
We're working on the details of that right now. I got to talk to one. We've got to figure out if the Paramount will allow us to do it.
Okay.
We've done it in the past, but there's some things, just some hurdles we got to jump through right now.
Okay. And then for people that don't know where it is, where is the Paramount Theater?
It's downtown 16th and Glenarm, right off the 16th Street Mall. Everything's right there. Pre-party, after-party is walking distance to the theater. So guys are going to be dressed up. I'll have a sport coat on, so everybody's going to look real nice. We'll have a red carpet, photographer at the entrance, so it'll be really, really well done.
This is kind of the pageantry that I always talk about for big fights and big events and things of that nature.
When you think of boxing at the MGM,
yes,
when everyone dresses like they're going to an event. Yeah.
So this kind of gives me that feeling. And it's funny, you get, like, there's fights today, right? UFC has fights today. I can almost care less right now.
London.
Whatever. To my point. But the interesting thing is, Paramount show is a week out, and I'm still
hyped. Yeah.
I'm itching to get to the show.
Sure.
So I think it kind of lends to that, not just the message that's been going around lately about the Paramount show, but everything else that's kind of been involved with this particular show itself.
Well, bringing a local regional show to that next level. Give me a reason to make it an event. Give me a reason to dress up and take my girl and have her dressed up, and feel like you're going. I mean, it's weird because we're watching, the rawest combat in the world, but we want to dress up. People want to go to an event.
Yeah, we don't want. The point of it was we don't want to make it a show. It's got to be an event. It's got to be something that people want to go to over every other fight show in Colorado.
So a sport coat over your tap-out shirt? Is that what we're...
Affliction.
Yeah, he's got, what are the jeans? He's got to wear the jeans.
Oh, bedazzled. I got to bedazzle my... What are those?
Hey, man, I don't know. I wear it.
Hey, Tony, what was the promo code that we can enter at MMA?
UFC @ and then PMMA.
Cool.
And then obviously, Chad, if you can we get posted up on or posted to their website so that people can take a look at it?
I'll also say too. There's when you go to the website, it'll have 2 different promotional offers. One's looking for a fight. That'll get you the 25% off. And then we've got for military and service members, we've got a 50% discount.
Nice.
But they've got to reach out to us because I don't want everybody to use that code.
No, that's understandable. So huge event. Okay, so big event. After this particular show and event goes off, what type of downtime are people looking like? Meaning, when is your next show kind of being planned for?
I don't
over there.
No, so we've got to spend the time.
Dennis Jackson with us. Thank you.
Initially, it was fall, right? So we wanted to do it, probably October.
Yep.
But we may bump it up. We may go July.
Really?
July on a show, yeah.
Really? So to me, by the way, as an outsider, to me, with that kind of sense of urgency, maybe is the right word. It almost sounds like you're kind of gearing for 3 shows this year.
That's what we want. That's I think what we want. Best case scenario, 3 shows. Like I said, we're still learning.
Yeah.
So the jump that we made from the first show to the second is a tremendous amount of. We did so much more work, right? The third show is going to be even better.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to make sure that we don't water down what we're doing, and we make sure that everything we're doing is for the right reason.
So then let's talk about that. What exactly do you mean by watering something down? Because that can be misconstrued a million different ways. Tell me what you mean specifically.
Well, when you put fights on every week, it's so repetitive, it's redundant. To me, it doesn't make me want to go.
It's like ordering pizza.
Right. So we want to make sure that every single thing that we do has its place, it has its purpose, and it's different.
Well, let's talk about this piece. Obviously, Paramount was part of Seth Daniels' organization, and he believed. I really, really like Seth Daniels' vision. Obviously, his heart was in jiu-jitsu, and we've seen what's happened with that, and it's phenomenal what he's done with Fight to Win. But I personally really, really loved the fact that Seth created events. I'm assuming that because you've now...
Meaning not just fights.
Right.
Got it.
Events. I mean, we can all talk about superheroes. That it doesn't matter who won or lost. Every one of us
Remembers
and everyone in
the
the fight
superheroes.
scene remembers the superheroes show. That was one of the coolest ideas ever. But are you looking at a similar type situation where things...
That's a great question.
Where your fights are events like themed events like that? Are you also looking at following in Seth's footsteps as far as venues and situations?
It's something that we talked about. We're not trying to reinvent what they did. We're trying to be different. For
right,
sure.
But I'm just saying kind of that idea that carrying forward.
The themes, everything's on the table. We've got a lot of people that have input. So as a group, we're going to come up with a great idea. I just don't know what it's going to be yet. I know what
it's going to be big.
What we think it's going to be.
Sure.
But until we work out the details, but it's going to be different. Theme or no theme, it's going to be a great.
Right. It's going to be an event.
Yeah.
Right. Ron and I have talked several times on the show, on and off, about promotion, the promotional aspect of fights, and I've always
The art of it?
Yeah, the art of the promotion. I'm a huge fan of the entertainment value of the walkout, and I love the Bellator walkout stuff that they've done in the past.
Bring back the ramp.
Yes, bring the ramp. I love it. And then like the UFC is more business about get them to the cage. Let's get the fight on. That's where the show is. What are your thoughts? Are you looking at that entertainment value?
We've talked about it. We might have some entertainment value next week. We might have a fighter with a rapper coming out to the stage. We haven't. Some people tell us not to do it.
Trying to get there.
So we're
from here.
figuring out. We're on the fence right now of whether we're going to let it happen or not. Absolutely, we want the fighters to be who they are.
Yeah.
There'll be things that we don't allow, whatever. But for the most part, we're the promotion. But it's really about getting the fighters through. So if you're a fighter that's who you are, we'll let it go.
See, and I love that.
I want to see the big furry vests.
Mo Lawal. No, but I think that, because I'm with you, I don't necessarily ever think to myself, if I'm getting ready to go to a fight, and there were fights that had, concerts and stuff in there, I didn't really care about the concert, actually.
Sure.
I didn't go there for a concert. I came there to watch some fights.
I agree. I believe the idea behind it was stellar. I believe when we saw it in practice, that didn't land.
Well, so that was kind of building up the promotion, and I get that, right? But then Tony's aspect is a little bit different. It's building the promotion and the fighter.
Sure.
And I think that you know, that ramp walkout where people have that type of connection to the fighter.
Exactly my point. If you give fighters the opportunity to show their personality,
yeah.
you give fans the opportunity to become endeared to a fighter.
And then that way they connect to the fighter and to the promotion.
Because they go, dude, we went to these fights and this dude came out to whatever blah blah song. I love it. And you don't even know like the lights and it was crazy and blah blah, you know. That's the stuff. I mean, yes, if they're spectacular fights, it doesn't matter. But when you add that little piece on the top.
So, do you know, I actually had a chance to ask Dana about bringing back the ramp to the events. You know, this is when they started to kind of get the fighters from the back walkway and through the walkway into the cage. I asked them about that specifically. I was like, because they were here, you know, for several events. And this was off the record. And I said to him, I go, you have to tell me why you guys got rid of the ramp. Because everybody loved coming out to the ramp. It's when the fans went nuts. You know, why is it gone? And he goes, because I could sell about 3,000 more tickets. And I said,
seating.
Okay, all right, and that was it. But he didn't.
3,000 times 75.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that same concern anymore now that the UFC's
pay-per-views. It's pay-per-view buys.
It's all about exactly. But I think that is one of the cool things about being a fighter per se on this particular show is that you really do get a chance to kind of bring your individuality out.
Even going back to like Ring of Fire, how they used to set up at Budweiser Event Center, you watch the fighters. They came out through that curtain on an elevated platform that walked them over. It puts that fighter up so everybody's eyes are fixed. I think it's a really cool situation rather than having them walk at floor level where if you're 19 rows away from them, you may see their hand up in the air. You know, it's just that it's like the pitcher coming into the game in the 7th inning. You know, he gets to come out from the bullpen and come all the way to the front. I really like that excitement.
I think for the next show, we probably need to do an elevated walkout. So
yeah, exactly.
Write that down.
I didn't mean to hijack where we were going on. It's just that, like, for me...
It's the pageantry of it.
Having been a fighter, given the opportunity to walk out on a ramp, you might have seen a backflip. I mean, you never... It's just that whole feeling of that.
But that's an interesting question. So you've had the chance to do both. So you've done it on the regional side and you've done it on the big side. Do you have a preference? Do you care about which would?
No, I didn't because I wanted to fight. So all that stuff that went with I just wanted to get to the cage, right, and get it started.
Fight day was a whole lot like the 6 weeks leading up in promotion for Tony.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah.
Hey, can someone tell some people I got to fight? I got to go train.
Right, but yeah, it is. We have to let the fighters have some personality in there too. There's some that are going to want it. There's some that are not. So the guys that want to show who they are and market themselves a certain way, we'll allow it.
Such a great opportunity, though. Yeah. I mean, all eyes on you at that moment. You know, that's all people will remember. That moment.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it.
Could you imagine a dude coming out like Undertaker style, no music, just the like church bell, the room totally dark. It's dong.
No,
dong.
No, you don't want that.
Yeah, I want that.
You do?
Yeah.
See, I would love to see something where, and we're going to give you some ideas for the ramp now, I guess. So we've got the ramp set up. We've got the little streamers that go shooting off, the little smoke show.
Oh, we're going 100% right now.
We're doing this. So I think that one of those aspects, especially if somebody's a big ticket seller, though. That's kind of where all their fans, they start snapping a ton of pictures.
Yes.
And that's when sharing that content really becomes powerful for you.
Sure.
And I think that you can leverage those types of things.
If you weren't there and all you saw was your sister's picture of a guy walking out and the cryos went off and the light, and you're like, dude, we missed an event.
And that's the idea behind this, Dennis. Agree? I mean, that's pretty much the goal behind this stuff.
Dennis is shaking his head yes.
He wasn't allowed. He's got a face for radio. So.
You can join me. No, but I think, hey, Chad, so as an outsider, and Liz, of course, as outsiders, do you guys, hearing us talking about this event, do you guys get a sense of kind of the magnitude of what this is going to do for Denver and kind of how this is becoming a really big event for the fight scene here in Colorado?
And real quick, just for knowledge, both very passive fight fans. Chad's been to a couple of my fights. Liz is a passive. I will watch fights if there's something going on.
I was the wrestling manager in high school.
Nice.
So was I, coincidentally. No. I think that it's pretty awesome to have such big names, a nice card. I think having Dana there is a huge pull. I think the idea of having the annual event at Paramount with a nice big name like Tony throwing it.
What about the aspect of the walkout? In your eyes, as a passive fan who's not immersed in the fight scene, how is it the big ramp and the lights, or like you've seen at my fights where we just kind of walk through the crowd?
I mean, at your fights, I totally agree. If I'm 19 rows away, all I see is a friggin' glove. And it's exciting because the music gets me going, and I'm like, hell yeah, but I don't get a chance to see that fighter until he actually enters the cage. Whereas if I was focused, like Tony talks about in his fighting, and that's what he wants to do, then there's no reason for that showmanship. But as a WWF fan, which is where I've been exposed a lot of the fighting growing up and stuff, until UFC and Hoist Gracie days. The WWF was always exciting, and I always pictured myself wanting to walk around no matter where I'm going. If I'm walking into the grocery store, I would love to have an opening sequence walking down a ramp.
That's exactly my point.
Me too, by the way. Liz, by the way, from a female's perspective,
yes.
Do you share the same sentiment? Do you have a different...
As far as the walkout, as far as the entertainment of it all?
Yeah, I like the excitement and the buzz of the walkout and the music, the lights. It's a whole production. For me, it's like...
I agree.
I like that.
See, that's my take on it, too.
Yeah.
I think that that's where you don't need a concert or you don't need a theme if you've got that.
Right.
And when that becomes, a big component of the fights themselves and that big... that big lead up to the fight, that almost kind of sells the promotion too.
It gets to a point where you become a fan of a fighter and you know what their walkout, and you are getting yourself situated so you can see it happen. Right. Yeah, because you know what he's going to do. It's this cool. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't win or lose a single fight. It doesn't do anything except for
entertain us.
And if someone catches a cool video on their phone and shares it, that may sell 5 more tickets to someone who is a passive fan that was like, whoa, cool. In my opinion.
It's settled. We're doing a
we're doing a ramp.
We're doing a ramp.
So
sorry, Dennis.
Tell us any more information that you want to get out about Paramount MMA for this show, for the future shows. Tell us everything you want to get out, because we're going to move on to some other fights that are going on today too.
Yeah. So the goal of Paramount MMA, you guys have heard me talk about it, is fighters first, right?
Yes.
We're going to back that up. The other thing is we don't want it to be a titles don't matter usually for these local shows. Mm-hmm. I want to build Paramount MMA to get the right fighters on there, that as we grow, that our titles matter. So you win a Paramount MMA title,
it's a big deal.
You should go to the UFC. So that's going to be our long-term goal, and I think we're going to get there.
Like a direct feed.
Yeah. But
your champions are
and here's why,
ready to move.
Here's why we can do that, because when we put fights on, the fighters that we bring in are great fighters. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to build a fight card just to make money. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's going to happen. What we want to do is we want to put the fighters on there that are going to get to the UFC. We're going to be legitimate because of that. Mm-hmm. And then every fighter that comes up through the ranks, just like our LFA, right? Mm-hmm. When you win an LFA title, it means something.
Absolutely.
It's going to mean something for Paramount MMA too.
See, and I love that, because to me, I'll tell you right now, is RFA I thought was good. I think
who had become the natural feeder.
I think LFA is excellent. I love what I'm seeing out of LFA.
Oh, yeah.
On a few levels, because I think that their matchups are really good. I think that the way that they get that television exposure is fantastic, of course, with their deal.
And they sure as hell don't hometown the fighters.
No, they don't. I'll tell you right now, you know what? That's an interesting point, because Colorado fighters have had it rough in LFA.
Yeah.
I mean, Corey Sandhagen. I mean, let's talk about that.
What did we lose? 3 of the matchups that they had? Three call it fighters.
Three
I think
big
the
name
only
fighters.
one- Yeah, the
Eric
only
Grant.
one was Matt Johnson, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But he fought a local guy.
And he fought a local person, yeah.
So Eric Grant lost, and I've told you before. I think the guy's phenomenal.
Me too,
He's
by the way.
flashy.
Me too. He's got it all.
Man, he's good. Sandhagen loses, which I don't think anybody in the room expected.
Agreed.
Chris Hokum loses.
That guy he fought was really good.
Man,
he's a ninja. And that guy was so long that I don't know anyone that would have been able to get inside on that.
You couldn't get in the pocket.
No
There's
way.
no. His jab was easily 6 inches longer than anything Chris could throw.
Unbelievable. And just the way that he was able to
angle
manage,
in, angle out.
just to manage that fight. I thought he did an outstanding job. But to the point, the LFA fighters from Colorado have had it rough in that promotion because that is your legitimate next.
Sure, and let's be realistic. Most regional promotions that come take the local fighters and usually give them a decent fight. We want to make sure that
they can win,
and highlight them so that the local fans continue to buy tickets when they come to town. LFA 100% did not do that.
So that let me ask you guys this question. So do you guys care about the wins or do you care about the performance? And the reason why I'm asking you about that, we can have somebody 10-0 and they get to LFA, let's say, and they can't do anything against that next level talent. Do you guys care about wins for our local guys or do you guys care about the performances and seeing growth out of that fighter? Start with Tony.
Go ahead.
I think both matter. I think if you win every fight, but you never fought anybody that was a worthy opponent, then it doesn't really matter.
Agreed.
But if you win 9 of those 10 fights and you have 1 loss, and you won 3 after that, but that 1 loss made you that much better, then I think it negates the loss, right? So it's about both.
I care about quality wins,
meaning against good ranked opponents,
quality wins,
top guys
against
and girls.
Great competition.
Okay.
I don't care if you're 5-5 and you're fighting another guy that's 5-5, but your 10 fights and his 10 fights are against guys all top 10 fighters. I'll take that over a 10-0 guy who was the face of a promotion that got cream puffed to the top.
If I'm a coach, I have a great guy, I have a great fighter. That I know is meant to go to the next level, I've got to test him one time.
Absolutely.
I can't pat. You
got to put him over his head.
Yeah.
Put him over his head and see how he responds.
So I think if you're a coach or you're a manager and you get your fighter 10 easy fights to get to the UFC,
it does nothing for him.
It does nothing for him.
And for you.
Yeah.
Except give him an overinflated self-value in fighting and an unrealistic ideal of his future. Because you get to 10-0 and you think you're on a rocket, you get signed by the UFC, you quit your job, you become a full-time fighter.
Yep.
Because that's what you've been, mindset, and that's what you've been conditioned to do.
That's what people are telling you to do.
They give you.
I didn't do that.
No,
they give you 2 fights, you get your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
Now you no longer have a UFC career.
Yeah.
You no longer have a job because the last year and a half you've been a professional fighter, and now you're going back to try to eat off of local and regional promotions.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a few, probably a handful of fighters right now off the top of my head that I can think of that are kind of facing that situation right here in Colorado. Kind of, what do you do next? Where do you go next? If you go anywhere at all, right?
Well, let's be realistic. 90+% of the fighters in Colorado and regionally don't have a fallback.
That's right. That's right.
They don't have a career.
Yeah. It's
there's
not
very
the right
few
way.
you can talk about. Tony had a career. Cavan was a career guy.
Yeah.
Brian
Rogers too.
Yeah, there's some guys out there.
Absolutely.
Carwin for his career. I mean, he didn't really need a fallback, but at the same time, you look around and a lot of guys are maybe not the upper echelon of society and education.
Agreed. Let's recap one more time. Where can we get tickets today for Paramount MMA 7?
Yep, www.paramountmma.com.
Promo code?
UFC at PMMA.
And what about, what's the isn't there a phone number that they can reach people at too, or just go directly to the site?
911.
Yeah, go to the, go to the site. I'm not going to make the same mistake that the guy at LFA made.
I totally have it up on the screen. I had the promo code wrong for a second. I apologize about that, but the PMMA, not Pro MMA.
Yep, PMMA.
Yep.
PMMA. So, all right, cool. And then the fights are on the 24th.
Yep, next Friday.
Doors open at
6 o'clock.
And fights begin at
7 o'clock.
And you said there's a pre-party and a post-party.
There's a pre-party for our VIP sponsors. That one's not open to the public. The after party will be at Lucky Strike.
Okay.
The pre-party's at Earl's. But if you get a VIP ticket or you're at a table, you're welcome to go. We expect a pretty good crowd.
Both less than 3 blocks from the venue.
Walking distance. Everything's walking distance, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I'm really excited for this event. I've kind of been working behind the scenes with you, so I thank you for allowing that. And then on top of that, I just think that this is really one of those types of events that you're going to see people's best efforts. You know, I mean, that's the feeling, the genuine feeling that I get right now leading into this final week of prep. But I just get that sense that everyone's really, really dying to perform. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for you guys.
I think the energy around the event's already huge.
Yeah, us too, of course, and
bigly huge.
You know, we're going to try to get a live show.
Let's try to get this pre-fight show. Shouldn't be an issue as long as we can work out the semantics. We'll get it done right there from the Paramount.
Yeah, what time should we do it?
I'm guessing early afternoon.
4, 3, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Earlier.
2.
I was thinking 2.
2 o'clock. Done.
Because there's pre-fight stuff going,
and we'll
then trying to get people. Yeah, so we should probably get there early and set up, and then look at about 2 o'clock. I would assume.
And there was a couple things. So UFC fights are tonight. UFC in London. Got Jimmy Manoa taking on who's he fighting?
My sister.
Excuse me.
My sister. She just flew over. It was a joke.
Okay, how about who's he fighting?
I honestly,
it's a really bad joke.
Yeah,
I don't have the sound effects together yet, or I'll do that for you next time.
I haven't even really paid attention to this card because it was so.
It's all good.
Not good.
Alan Jaban is taking on Gunnar Nelson, which I think is a really interesting.
I do
fight.
like Gunnar.
I love Gunnar, and I love Alan Jaban. So
I think
exciting.
Gunnar wins easily.
Jaban?
No, Gunnar.
Oh, Gunnar. Mm-hmm. If he gets this fight to the ground, which most do. Anyway, I think that's on Fox. It's free tonight, so check your local cable provider. One of the things that I always like to talk about here at the Final Bell is the opportunity for others, if they have a desire to have their own show, just like Trevor and I do here, they have that opportunity here at worldviral.tv. All you got to do is contact World Viral through the website, touch base with either Chris or Chad, and ask for information about having your own show done. The rates are ridiculously affordable. There's no reason why this thing shouldn't be blown up to death. So check out worldviral.tv. Of course, you can take a look at the Final Bell on the pull-down menu that you can find that. I highly encourage everybody that has an idea for a show to get your own show. It's a good way to get content out for you and for everybody else. So I always like to push that, Chad. I always love talking about that because that's a big deal to you guys too.
Email Chad and Chris, Chad or Chris at worldviral.tv. We'll get you guys hooked up. We love to have great content such as the Final Bell on the World Viral platform.
Thank you for that, Trevor. I know you had some closing words that you wanted to get out about your sister or something, or
my sister's not fighting in the UFC tonight.
Allegedly.
Check.
All right, so with that, Tony, give us a final word about Paramount MMA. Tell us what we can expect to see next Friday night.
Well, we're excited about the fighters. We know they're going to come out and perform, especially with the opportunity in front of them. And thanks to everybody who supported us for having our second show, to be able to do what we've done in short amount of time. It speaks volumes to the community and to everybody that supported us. So looking forward to doing this show and then our third show coming up after that.
Sounds good. And on behalf of the Final Bell, my name's Ron Goldstein, joined by Trevor O'Connor as always, and of course today with former UFC fighter Tony Sims, and now the frontman of Paramount MMA. Looking forward to seeing you guys next Friday night at the Paramount Theater. Do not miss it. Don't forget to check out the website, ParamountMMA.com. Get yourself some tickets. Use that promo code. Get yourself some coupon or some discounts on the
get
tickets.
your girl dressed up and go
bring
out.
all your friends, man. This one's going to be on fire. You cannot wait to see these matchups. And of course, we'd be foolish not to talk about Dana White looking for a fight to the show. You get a chance to meet Uncle Dana, take pictures with him, do all the things that you want to do, and talk to the big boss. But again, thanks to Tony, thanks to Dennis Jackson, of course. We appreciate everybody, and we will see you guys next week on The Final Bell. Thank you, guys.
Bam. We nailed the time.
That was really good.
Colorado Harvest Company.
I captured the beauty to put on display, as if it's my duty to blow you away. This is the end of everything I've ever known.
World Viral TV is brought to you, as always, by Colorado Harvest Company.
Welcome to the newest Colorado Harvest Company.
Well, I mean, he was a professor. World Viral.
Hello, everyone. This program was brought to you by National Speaker and Sound, Colorado's leading provider of pro audio music equipment. Right across the street from Herman's Hideaway at 1559 South Broadway.
National Speaker, where the pros shop.
World Viral.